failure, it's probably our greatest teacher. And one of the things that I want you to kind of know as I'm gonna head to the range, and we're gonna do a series here, we're gonna talk about all of the things and nuance that Moe taught me, which is the way to make the golf swing easier. But it wasn't always easy for me. There was a lot of times when I struggled with it because I had a conventional background. I swung the club conventionally, like maybe many of you have, and I had to learn it as well. Now, I've done this for so long now that there's a lot of things that I think are very easy that are sometimes difficult for people, but mostly it's because they come from this conventional background. So one of the things I want to do today, and I'm going to do a series of videos on the channel, is I want to talk about the fact that I don't try to convince people that they should be single plane golfers. What I try to do is just demonstrate it for them to show them an easier way, because the reason you're probably watching this channel in the first place is because you're searching for something that's easier and maybe better. Now, I'll tell you this, I don't think there are quick tips out there. You've seen me talk about this on the channel. What I do believe is that there is a good way, an easy way, and a simple way, and difficult ways. And the entire reason I changed my swing to a single plane swing is because I saw an easier way. So I want to go to the range. I want to do a series of videos. And in this series, we're going to discuss all the things that Moe talks about that make the single plane swing easier. And you might even think that some of these things are idiosyncratic, but I'm going to show you how they're actually the easiest way to hit a golf ball. So there's no better feeling knowing that when you wake up in the morning to go play golf, so that you're going to play well. There's no better feeling of hitting good golf shots down the fairway. Years ago, I was frustrated because I lost that. I was confused, I was frustrated, and then I met Moe Norman and learned the single plane swing. And so now I wake up every day and I know I'm going to hit it well, I know I'm going to play well, I know I'm going to have fun. So my mission today is to help as many people as possible wake up every day feeling good that they're going to go out there and play great because of the single plane swing.
Hey, welcome to the channel today. Listen, you know, I talk about the common sense of the single plane swing. Today I don't want to talk about common sense. I want to discuss a little bit about Moe Norman, and I want to use a little logic, because one of the things that I don't ever do is ever try to convince anybody that the single plane swing is the best way. It's just not part of my personality. What is part of my personality is to share with you, number one, my experience of what I believe is helpful for becoming a better golfer, number one. If that helps you, that's my purpose, that's why I'm here. Number two is also to share with you my experience to maybe save you from the trouble you may or may not have going forward with your own attempts for improvement. And I can tell you this right now, I have a lot of experience. In 1991, I played on the Asian Tour. I played professional golf from 91 to 2000, anywhere in the world that I could play. I had some success, some great years and some bad years like any other tour player. But one of my best years was in 1994 when I met Moe. And the reason that is because prior to meeting Moe, golf was an absolute struggle for me. Now, you got to realize I met Moe when I was 28 years old, so I wasn't necessarily a spring chicken, right? I was, you know, getting up almost in my 30s, and here I am. I'm late in my professional golf career, and I meet Moe Norman. Now, how did that come about? Well, I had been working with many of the best instructors in the world at the time, guys like Hank Haney and you know, the David Ledbetters of the world and the Tom Antons, and a lot of guys out there who I have a lot of respect for, because heck, golf's a hard game, and these guys had a lot of knowledge, and I was very, very thankful that these guys spent time and worked with me. But what I saw, the problem I saw with the conventional golf swing, and it's maybe the way my mental makeup works, is there wasn't, number one, a consistent format for how a golf club should be moving. And number two, there wasn't a system I could follow. There was no fallback. I didn't know what, and one day, the instruction would change from one day to the next. Kind of like when you watch YouTube, you're probably surfing around finding all these different tips and tricks, and they're not all bad. Like, there's a lot of great instruction out there. But here's what I need, and this might be you, this may not be you. I need a consistent model to follow. And it needs to have a couple things. It needs to be simple, relatively simple. It needs to be consistently and easy to follow and easily to understand. The common sense of it's important, but then I'll take it one step further and talk about how it needs to biomechanically be simple as well. So that leads me to Moe Norman. So here I am, a guy has a lot of golf experience, struggling with my swing, can't figure it out, don't understand it, kind of like what goes on today, got a lot of information out there. Then I see Moe Norman, introduced to him. And here's what I see, just I'm giving you my experience here. I see a guy who looks like he's reaching for the ball, arms extended out, and then I see this very simple club movement. Now, keep in mind, and this is the story I want to talk about, is that he was planing a golf club. He was taking a club from here, taking it back and bringing it right back down. So he was planing the club and returning it to the same plane. Okay, this is where it gets kind of weird, because what I realized was that all the instruction that I had learned from the conventional teachers that I had worked with, all of them were trying to teach me one thing: how to plane a golf club. However, they were having a hard time teaching me because we were starting like this and ending up like this. So now you might think, well, what's the big deal? That's not that big a movement, but it is. Think about it for a second. This club's traveling over 100 miles an hour. That ball is sitting still, and any 1 degree of club face error with a non-iron is 5 yards. 1 degree of club face error with a driver is 30 yards of dispersion. There's not a lot of room for miscalculation during this half-second motion of a golf swing. Well, that's when I saw Moe, what I saw was, number one, swing plane. I saw a pendulum-like swing plane, back and down on the same plane. So there was simplicity there. But number two, I looked at his body movement. And this is where it really gets a lot better, because I saw that he was moving less. He had less moving parts. It's not that he didn't move the same body parts. I've talked about this before. He was moving the body parts less and producing the same result. Now, that's the point of this video today. I'm gonna move my body parts in the most efficient manner. That's the word we use mechanically, efficiency, to take the club from address and return it back to impact. Because look, this club's on a plane. It's designed like this. It's not designed to be hit like this. It's not designed to be hit like this. It's designed to be hit on its ideal plane. That's why it has an angle to it. So my job as the guy hitting this club is to hold the club in a way and return it back to its plane, to its position. Now, the question that I will ask you after demonstrating that is, do you not think, just using logic here, do you not think that I should find what is the easiest way? Not what did Tiger Woods do, not what did Rory McIlroy do, how does he do it? They all plane the club. But wouldn't it be a little more logical to say, what is the easiest possible way to take this mechanism, the human body, arms, hands, shoulders, clubs, torso, feet, legs, wouldn't it be, how do I set this thing up to make this easier to get back to impact? How do I make this mechanism work in a way that takes the club on its design and returns it? That's exactly what I saw with Moe. Is what he had figured out, call it a discovery, call it whatever you want, he figured out a way to set the club on its plane, take it back, and return it to impact so that the body could make that impact moment easier. Now, how did he figure this out? And I think it's actually rather simple, because this is where I don't try to convince anybody to learn the single plane swing. I just want to demonstrate for you and use your own logical mind. If we're all trying to get to impact, doesn't it make sense that we put our body and the club in a position that makes the most important moment of the swing easier? Let me say it again. Doesn't it make logical sense to, if the most important moment is impact, to set ourselves up at address to make the entire motion easier to get to impact? Well, that's what you see with Moe Norman. Now, how did he do that? Well, There's elements to his address, which I talk about in all my instruction, which make this easier, and it creates a spatial relationship here to where now he doesn't have to lift his body, he doesn't have to spin his body out, he doesn't have any unnecessary movements to go from address back into impact. Now, I'll tell you what I feel, and this is what's interesting about it, is if I didn't have a club in my hands, this is what my golf swing feels like. I point towards the ball. I'm tilted because I'm going to be tilted at impact. I point and tilt, take my arms back to shoulder height. So in other words, I'm not changing my tilt. I stop my body, return the club to impact, and I hold myself in position to let the club finish. So I go from establishing my address, leverage the club, stabilize the body, swing through and hold my position. And I don't have a lot of feelings on the swing because if my body's in position, the arms can really only go in one direction. Think about your body position. Where your arms and club go, where your arms and hands go, is where the club's gonna go. So doesn't it make sense that how I position my body determines how my arms and hands can go? Watch the lead shoulder. So if I'm setting up and I straighten the leg and move the shoulder, doesn't it make sense that the arms will then go this way? If I tilt myself too much, fall back, my arms can only go this way. So really the inside of the swing is setting itself up, stop, and swing your arms. Now, what's interesting is many people feel like Moe's swing is an arm swing. And one of the things that we talked about a lot, and I don't disagree with that necessarily feeling, but what again, there's good and bad about that thought process, but here's what I do know. Once I stabilize and get my body in position, the last part of the entire sequence is mostly arms, hands, and club. So I can absolutely see where you think it's an arm swing, but you have to have the body in position. Again, my body's in position so that when I take it back and I come down, my body has the correct position to let the arms and hands release through. Again, I'm going to say this again. Watch what happens to the club when referring to playing. All good players must plane the club in the downswing. So you must be able to set up, take the club back, and have it on the proper path and plane to return to its impact position. Why would you ever take the club back like this? Why would you ever take the club back like this? Why not set it up on its plane, take it back to the plane, bring it down to the plane, and the body then, that's the simplest motion the body can make. Let me add something to that. I don't need to lift the foot. It's not that I'm keeping the foot down, right? I'm not sitting here going, keep the foot down. I just don't need the right foot to lift. If I already have the proper spacing, the foot should stay down naturally. If you're over rotating, you might lift the foot. Doesn't mean you're gonna hit a terrible shot. It's just not a necessary movement. It's not producing anything, maybe inconsistency in a way. Again, starting, planing, returning to the plane, and letting the arms and hands move through. Now, I'll finish off with this. I don't think that anything Moe Norman did was idiosyncratic. In other words, a lot of people look at a swing as being so different than a conventional swing. I see it completely opposite. And this may be the difference between me and anybody else that's talking about Moe Norman, is I see his swing as mechanically perfect. I see every other swing in the universe idiosyncratic. In other words, Rory McIlroy, idiosyncratic motion. I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm not saying it's bad. They play in the club at some point, so there's obviously some really good things going on in their swings. But they're the ones that I see manipulating address to backswing to downswing. I see all swings as a manipulation, but not Moe's, because Moe is starting and impacting where the club is designed So he has the most efficient way of planing the club, which is what we're discussing in this video, starting and impacting on the same plane. So again, just to kind of conclude this about swing plane, anytime that you take the club and you deviate it, see, this is the plane of the club. Anytime you deviate it from its original plane, it's a manipulation of body movement that you have to somehow get back before you get to impact. So why not start and then impact and make sure that club is referencing that plane the entire time. And that's the easiest way to hit a golf ball, and the reason that I sought out Moe Norman. Hey, if you're enjoying this content, please click on the bell icon, give me a thumbs up, and we'll talk more about Moe in the next few videos.